I'm going to call the meeting to order, and we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll move right into public remarks. Agenda items only. Come on, Brad.
Thank you. My name is Brad Swartz, Tyrone Township. I'm just here to comment on the agenda item regarding Mr. Noah Swartz. No relation, honest to goodness. Funny enough, he is a neighbor of mine, most nicest guy in the world. That's not what I'm here to say, though. I don't believe that he necessarily violated any ordinances in his fire. If you read the fire report and then you read his testimonial, it sounds like it was an accident. I have not spoken with him prior to this regarding it. I've only read what is posted online in the agenda packet. I have two concerns with it. If we charge Mr. Swartz for this, I think it will discourage people. The average American does not have enough money in their bank account to cover a one-time $600 expense. So the $1,500 and something dollars could discourage other people in our township from calling the police or fire department. Secondly, I just want consistency on what how we're enforcing this policy as well as others. I just think if we're all paying taxes, if I'm cooking a cake as opposed to grilling chicken, my oven catches on fire or my grill catches on fire, who's deciding exactly how I get charged or why? Again, if you read the fire report, it sounds like it was a complete accident, just like if I'm grilling chicken tonight like I did. It really concerns me that it could turn other people off from doing the safe thing and calling fire and police if it were regarding police, which is, I think, what we pay taxes for personally. And me as a resident, I know that it'll come up later. Well, do you as a resident feel that you should have to pay for someone else's fire call? Well, yes, that's what it is to live in a community. That's what it is to live in a place where you pay taxes for essential services. Otherwise, what exactly are we paying taxes for? So, thank you.
Good evening. My name is Daniel Levac. I'm a Tyrone Township resident. On the date of 2018, January, that's when we had the comet go over. I just remember it's a day of infamy for me because I survived an accident off of 23 coming back from Flint. The roads were pretty bad. And I was cut off, so I tapped my brakes. I was swerving, I was backwards, and I turned my vehicle 2.5 times without a scratch on me, thank you, Lord. But I did not call 911. Someone else called 911. So when the ambulance came, you okay? I said I was fine. The fire trucks came. They did their job great. And what happened is I got a bill in the mail for $1,400. I'm like, what? I had no idea. So I came to one of the meetings and they did work with me. I did not have to pay the full amount. They worked with me and I paid half. So hopefully there's something that can be done for Noah, on this. And just wanted to state, someone else, that's what my problem was. Like, I didn't call, someone else did. I was fine, everything, I had called, the tow truck came, But, yeah, I got that bill. It's a pretty good bill. If you get it in the mail, it's gonna hit you. You know, so, just wanna bring that up. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Yes, Scott?
Scott Dietrich, White Lake Road. I know this issue's been coming up, and did mention the fact before that I thought that a person paying, I trying to understand what the fire run report was, and I talked to Noah, because I didn't talk to anybody here. I met him for the first time outside. I didn't know why he was here until I just now. But I always said we pay for the fire runs in our taxes. So if he's a citizen, was it an accident? It's almost a question. Was it an accident? Did he have the hose out there? I mean, we all know that a spark could blow into leaves, and they could simmer there for hours and days before it gets done. So if he was doing things properly in the beginning, I mean, I could see where there's might be a little bit of room for a help. I always thought $1,400 for a fire run for a resident was a little steep anyway. So I don't know if we can help them on that. I said, you already know how I feel about US 23, because we have no authority out there. It's hard, especially after this last accident we just had down here on Krause Road, where the guy was passing on the right. So I don't know what you guys are going to do. It's up to you guys, but I know this is an issue we need to probably address in the future. Now, I would like to ask the attorney, in the future for 23, why are we if it's state-run highway, why are we getting billed when the property belongs to the state? I know we got a contract with the fire department for our township, but why is Tyrone Township getting billed for US 23 accidents? I mean, we have no jurisdiction in between those fences. Old 23 and US 23 are state property, not Tyrone Township property. So I would like to look in the future, if there's any accidents out there, they don't come to us on that issue, that they go to the state or the person that had the accident.
Thank you, Scott. Anybody else? Sure. Jim?
So I've never met Noah, never seen him till today, but he lives right across the water from me. But I called him, I got his number and I called him, and I read his letter. I hope you all have too. I mean, reading the guy's letter made me like the guy. I'm like, I can see why you people wouldn't like me. But this dude, I'm like, holy smokes, I wish the township would hire him to write their stuff. He was very to the point, very friendly, not contentious, but when I read it, he's done nothing wrong. So based on the way some of the decisions have been made here, you know, accusing people of things, I called him and I says, no, they're telling you violated some ordinance, right? No one's defined what that is. But I said, who came out to your house from the township to look at it? Anyone? Nobody. Nobody even went to look. So how can you accuse someone of being in violation? So I know, you know, I had the court date the other day, and I know Miss Jennifer liked to swear on the Bible. So since the Bible is important, I feel comfortable quoting it. Proverbs 18:13, he that answers a matter before he hears it, it's shame and folly to him. That means if I make a decision on something and I don't even seek it out, not only should I be ashamed, I'm acting like a fool. And there's other instances of that. You know, Jeanette says your time is limited. And Greg, you sent an email. What does that mean? What's the obvious thing to do? Go ask her. What did you mean by that, Jeanette? No one ever did that. You guys issue a citation on my neighbor Tim. Greg, you told us 2 weeks before the court date, we should have asked his side of the story.
Stay on the agenda.
This has to do with this
Not an agenda item.
because it has to
Not
do
an
with your
agenda item.
decision-making process. I know you don't want to hear it.
Thanks, Jim. I don't want to hear it because
You don't
it's
want to
not
hear
on
the
the
truth, do you,
agenda.
Greg? It has to do with the way you're making the decision with Noah. You're doing the same thing.
We will
You're
talk
accusing
to
him.
Noah. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh,
for
and
your
by the
comment,
way-
Jim. Thank you for your comment, Jim.
Yeah, well,
Thank you for
you
your
stole
comment,
my.
Jim. Thank you.
So who's the threatening people
Thank
in this
you.
room, Greg?
Thank you, Jim.
You want to rip this up
We'll
like you
talk
did
to
Jeanette's
Noah.
check?
We will talk to Noah. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, good luck, Noah.
Thank you, Jim.
You see what we're dealing with here, Russ?
Anybody else? Come on, Jeanette.
Are we going to believe the Heartland Fire Department, Jeanette Ropetta, Tyrone Township resident, who said the fire was quickly brought under control using the his garden hose? The cause of the fire was from a previous controlled burn that had blown around when the wind picked up. How can you predict that? What part of the ordinance did he violate? I read in the packet you provided him the 8-page ordinance, but all you said was you're getting billed this amount of money, $1,500, due to a brush fire? Did you read his statement? So this has been an issue that I've been asking about for years. And when I go back to August 16th, when I'm asking, what's the reason? First of all, I don't believe that he should be charged anything. But you guys end up here making decisions about certain things and pulling numbers out of the air. An August 16th board meeting where you talked about this same issue, another appeal, and I asked, what's the reasoning for cutting the fee in half for doing 50% rather than 60, rather than 70, 80? And the clerk explained why they gave the Andersons 50% discount. She said, my reasoning, the whole thing changed when the husband mentioned that he had rented a wood chipper and had been working all day, so that's telling me that he spent his day working and invested money in this. It wasn't some big, huge, crazy fire with a lot of scrap wood from his trees. So I asked the question again, and the clerk answers again. She says the $1,400 run charge, which is standard at that time, was a hardship for them. So Dave, who was a former board member, had suggested half, cutting it in half, and I went along with that. I think that's fair. She stopped talking, and finally I get an answer to the question Trustee Walker said as to why they chose 50, not 60, not 80%. He said the simple answer is it's completely arbitrary. So what I bring this up because even in a public meeting, the public can see that the board really has no rhyme or reason for making these decisions. And as Pam said, that particular one was based on her feelings. I think that's fair. He said he worked hard and he invested money. Did anyone ask Noah if he worked hard and invested money? Lastly, I'm going to say, he called in good faith. He had controlled the fire. He has paid his taxes. You keep doing this, discouraging people to call 911. Somebody is going to get hurt. And how sad will it be when you hear the reason is, I thought I might get a $1,500 fine, so I didn't call. Are you going to feel okay about that? The reason that you make answers or why you come up with these numbers is never given. And it's never consistent across the board. I'm asking you to dismiss his fine. Thank you.
Sure, Becky.
Good evening. My name is Becky Millark, a resident here of Tyrone Township. I'm also a former firefighter paramedic of 15 years of saving lives and homes. I'm here because I'm deeply concerned about this decision to charge a resident $1,500 for calling 911 to put out a fire. We pay our taxes for a reason. Public safety should never come with a surprise price tag. As someone who's been on the other side of that call, let me tell you, we never wanted people to hesitate to call 911. We didn't want them wondering if they could afford help. I also don't even know this man. I don't even know him. Charging residents for emergency response sends the wrong messages. It makes people think twice before they call for help, and that can delay the cost on saving lives. This wasn't a prank. This was someone doing the right thing, and the system worked. There wasn't a fire. Someone called it in. He put it out. They put it out. I don't know. This should be the end of the story, not a $1,500 bill, when we all know how much money you guys have in the bank.
Thank you, Becky. Sure thing, Tim.
Tim Broad, Tyrone Township. I am different than the other folks. I know Noah very well. Noah's been a great neighbor. He has helped many neighbors on his side of the water, of his time and of his back-breaking work. There was a mistake made, wind blew, something happened, but the man was out there with his hose, with buckets, with his son. He did everything he could, and you know, you can't predict the weather. So I really think that, along with the others, like they've said, you really need to think about how you're treating your residents. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll look at public comment again. Sure thing, Kim.
Kim Fracolosi, Deer Park, Livingston County resident. Listening to the discussion, it seems like I love rules, okay? So ordinances are way cool for me. However, this thing comes up a lot where people think they know something and then you call and then you get billed. And I personally think it should just be in our taxes. However, more importantly, this comes up repeatedly, which means we have an ordinance problem. Not just a communication problem, but an actual ordinance problem. Because if the communication in an ordinance is so bad we don't understand it, regardless, I'll raise my hand. So I see now what I have to do is have some s'mores next to anything I burn so that I can say it was for pleasure, regardless of what happens. I mean, this is just silly. So anytime, I'm just suggesting, when we bump up against something that we keep fighting about, let's just look at the big picture again, similar to what Sarah had said, and go, do we have this right? Is there enough information here? Does everybody understand it? And then just put it in there and just change things up. But charging somebody $1,500 when they do something right, regardless, because it almost sounds like he had to do some of the work for the fire department because the fire never went out. Well, let's charge them the same thing and even it out. But then we can't continue to do this, that, and go through all these details. Let's just get the ordinance fixed so that everybody understands it and it's very simple. And this won't be the only thing. But instead of sitting down and arguing like we just did and took up so much time, let's go, this is a repeated problem. We need to look at stuff and set something up where we can talk about it. That's all I'm saying. Thanks.
Thank you, Kim. Yes, Becky.
Good evening, my name is Becky Millark. I'm a resident and a business owner of Bare Naked Wood here in Tyrone Township. I would like this on public record. Last week, I attended a court hearing for Tim Broad versus Tyrone Township. Scott Dietrich openly admitted on the record to being the aggressor in this altercation with Tim Broad. He admitted this at least 3 times. The magistrate even said, "You pushed him, that's assault, that's criminal." Supervisor Greg Carnes, Sheriff Murphy, and Scott Dietrich all admitted they saw the video and that it was clearly showing Scott pushing Tim. And yet Tim, the victim, was the originally one cited. That citation letter was also thrown out by the magistrate. Why are taxpayers' dollars being used to falsely accuse an innocent man? So here's my question to the board. Have charges been filed against Scott Dietrich? And if not, why not? What are we waiting for? The evidence was there. It was discussed openly in court. Let's also not ignore the fact that the video is now gone. Tim attempted to request the video footage through a FOIA, and it was never provided. This is a violation of the FOIA law. This isn't just legal failure, it's a public safety issue. Scott Dietrich has publicly threatened me at a prior board meeting, stating that our business would be targeted next, simply because we know the Ropetta family. Since then, he's been obsessively stalking my social media. I have all paperwork right here to prove it, if anybody wants to see it. I don't even feel safe attending these meetings because of this man and his aggressive behavior. This should never be the case for any resident. He's also been seen working on property on July 2nd and 3rd. Who authorized this? Well, obviously we just got our answer from Jennifer. I'm asking, is he licensed? Is he insured? Is he getting paid by tax dollars? Really? Because from where I stand, it looks like the township will bend over backwards to harass a small business, like myself, while protecting someone else who is proven in court to be the aggressor in an assault. You have the obligation to protect residents. You say you enforce the law, then I'm asking, will you enforce it here? Will you press charges? Will you protect your residents? Or will you keep covering up someone who's actively harassing them? Thank you.
Yeah, Jim.
I'd like to follow up Becky there. You know, Noah comes in here and I ask you guys, what are you accusing him of? None of you even know. You say I don't know, did you guys not read anything before you got here? But since you're setting the rules of the game, you're gonna nitpick him over the size of his fire pit, wind direction, if he's got 2.9 or 3 acres. We're gonna go by the letter of the law, right? That's what you guys do. But you don't apply them to yourself, so let me read your code of conduct to you that you like to plaster on that table back there. Any person who violates the provisions of this article shall be guilty. Shall be, you know what that means, right? Shall means it is, done deal, not maybe. Shall be guilty of a municipal civil infraction and subject to the penalties set forth. That's your ordinance that you guys voted in. So the very next paragraph, I don't know if you guys ever read this, the violation of the ordinance shall be documented and all evidence of the violation collected and retained. That's a provision of this article. So one or more of you has to get a citation for not meeting the provision of this article. That's the letter of the law. You didn't collect and retain the only piece of evidence you had. You showed up with nothing. Absolutely nothing. And you had supposedly a video that proved him. And now Dietrich, just like she said, he admitted, the magistrate told him, you're the one that broke the law, bro. You told me in your office, Greg, we should have given him a citation. You have to. Because if you don't, you're not meeting the provisions of this article. And you're violating it then. Right? That's the letter of the law. And then, question, Greg, can you overrule a board decision by yourself? No, you can't. How do the meeting dates get set? How do they get set? By a board vote. How can you cancel a board meeting and make that decision for the whole board? That's illegal. And you know what you did? You illegally stole my 6 minutes that I get every 2 weeks to come up here and voice my concern. Does it take a board vote to issue a special land use permit? Greg? Of course it does. So how do you sit up there a few weeks ago and say we, whoever we is, are revoking their special land use permit? How do you do that, Greg? You want to hold Noah to the letter of the law when you guys don't even know what you're accusing him of? Charge him $1,500? And I saw you sit there and agree with this woman, but I also saw you vote to make him pay $1,500. That makes a lot of sense right there. You sat there and agreed with her looking like the reasoning one, like usual, but you voted to make him pay. You guys look like complete morons. But do this. You have to give citations.
Okay.
If you want to follow the law, bro, you got to do it. Be a man.
Bring it on. Bring it on. Now, listen, bring it on. You know what?
Keep it civil.
Oh, I'm gonna. Go check your stand your ground law. No, really. And not only that, Mr. Murphy, our sheriff, stood up there and watched the video and told the judge exactly what happened. He said, Tim was the aggressor. That was our sheriff. That was our sheriff. That was his testimony.
Hey,
No, see, they don't want to know the truth. And they don't want to follow ordinances. What did we have a master plan for? What did we have all these meetings for? So, you know what? He's the one that sat there in court and said, I was the one that run my mouth, I'm mad all the time. Did you see how he acted this whole meeting? Tell me. Okay, I would like the same respect that I gave him. I didn't shout at him when he was talking. Anyways, getting back to the roads and stuff. Chris, we're going to need a special assessment. I don't think you're going to get that for your 23 out there. Now, I do sympathize with the fire run with with Noah, and we have to get into our ordinances. We have to get into our ordinances. We didn't do that with our master plan, go through and we need to tweak them. We did that before. I was there when we did that too. And I do agree, we do need to look at that. Okay, getting back with all this other stuff, I'm not going to say any more. They can ramble, Jeanette can ramble all she wants. Go ahead and find me, because I know. And if you agree that I should be fined, write it, buddy. Write it, because I know I'll win. Well, I've got so many people that have seen it. The sheriff, you're going to have an elected sheriff sit there and explain the situation, word for word. And they came in here and lie through their teeth. The FOIA requests, they're all there, everything's documented. It'll be brought up. I have no problem. I'll take my fine. I'm not going to pay it, and I'll fight it, and I'll win. I know it, because you know what? And getting back to Mrs. Becky over here, she's got a lot of issues herself, and I never threatened her. And you know what? There's ordinances, and we all worked hard on these ordinances. And they don't seem to want to follow them. Chris, you took an oath to represent the taxpayers and our ordinances. That's why you guys voted the way you did. I feel bad for Noah. I'm glad you guys gave him relief, which I asked for. I wish we could give him more. But we have to follow our ordinances. But we have to fix some of them. I agree. But some people just think they don't have to follow ordinances. And I understand, Noah understood that, from what I can understand. I can't speak for him. I do feel bad for him. I do want to help him.
thank you. Anybody else?
Greg.
Hi, Gordon Tomaszewski. I'm going to try to kill two birds with one stone here. The first issue being the fire run. I do have a question. How much money do we have in surplus in our budget? Whoever wants to answer on the board? Or can I get an answer? No. Okay, because I've been, of course, this is a comment, so nobody wants to answer. I was looking through and I seen that we have $2 million sitting there. Also, last year, through the audit, we had $979,000 that was sent to Tyrone Township, and the township accrued more money. My question is, why are we talking about giving a $1,500 fine? Why are we talking about raising people's taxes when you turn around and we have such a surplus of money? It is taxpayer money. And it's not like we're going to expect that we're going to get every resident to call in and get a fire call where we're going to have $2 million, $3 million worth of fees that we're losing out on. And this brings to my another point I have. I spoke with Miss Eden today. We had a great conversation. This is a comment period. And I mentioned that as I did in the past. Why don't we have an answer period so residents can get some insight and information? Everything's being withheld from us. I brought up the point that there was a survey done on the old Township Hall, which is a pet peeve of mine. And we allocated 2 years in a row over $30,000 each year for restoration on the Township Hall. If we've got $30,000 that we can throw at a Township Hall after there was a survey done that people specifically, overwhelmingly said they did not want any taxpayer money used to fund it.
On the move, Gordon. On the move.
Read what it says.
I did.
And it also says, do you want to take money from the road funds and other funds in order for it to be used? Yeah. It did not specifically say just for the move. It was, does any taxpayer funds should they be used for the historic Township Hall? Everybody said no. And kudos to you guys for raising the money privately to do it. And that's what should be done with these historic ventures. And the other problem that I have with the whole situation is you were a past member or president of the Historic Society. I know, Jennifer, you and your husband have donated money. And for you to be on the board when that vote was taken to budget money to that fund is completely unethical. You should have never voted. You should have recused yourself from it. And the last thing I have to say is, and all I'm going to say is from the proceedings we had at court, you can say whatever you want to. The court ruled that you guys were wrong. So as far as facts go, there was a legal professional. That's what his business is. He found that you were wrong. So not too bad. It's not too late for anybody here to issue an apology to Mr. Brode. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Jeanette Ropetta, Tyrone Township. By the way, regarding the fire policy, we as residents have been asking for several years to have this policy reviewed. It's not something new tonight, one of the board members said. And I know that you just need to know that this has been asked for years and we have been ignored on it. At least 3 members of this board have been lying. What this board did to Tim Broad, a respected longtime resident of this community, is disgusting and deserves a public apology, not a cover-up. Tim was falsely accused, dragged through the mud, and forced into court, even though several of you had already seen the video and knew the truth. In court, the man who actually committed the act admitted under oath, "I pushed him." The magistrate said, "That's assault. That's a criminal act." And he asked the supervisor, "Did you issue him a citation?" Greg said no. So here, we now have a case involving an actual assault and you've said nothing. Now, my case, in my citation, I'm not going to say much about it tonight, but I will tell you that you can go to www.substack.com and you can search for the township files, and I will have everything there, some more information and more of what I wanted to say tonight that I don't have time. So as far as the surveillance videos, all kinds of false information going around out there about it, including the cashier of the township who was going out and saying what was done, who asked for what it cost, etc. And now I find out, and she posted online that she got to see the video. Did she do a FOIA? Did she FOIA for a copy like you told me, Greg? The only way I could see it is to FOIA for a copy that no residents, Chuck told you, no residents can see the video. And she's saying that we're lying, that we didn't ask to see the video. That's your township cashier. I asked you in several times and in writing, do not destroy this footage, my evidence, and I don't care if you think what's applicable or what isn't. It's my defense, and I asked you not to destroy it, and you did instead. You destroyed it. And so when I came in here to pay my FOIA fee, the supervisor, who knows me well, ripped up my check in my face with the most angry look on his face. How dare I exercise my freedom of information rights? He did that as if FOIA law doesn't mean anything. And there's a video of it. And then my citation has been escalated to a formal hearing. You took away my right for the magistrate to hear what I had to say. And by the way, no, nobody asked me what I had to say. So who made that decision? Was it you, Greg? Again, go to substack.com, search for the township files, and I'll write the rest of it there.
Yeah, Tim.
Greg, I have a public comment first. I'm going to be speaking as a resident, not as a trustee. This issue is so important. We need to escalate. You, as a board, really should consider escalating this particular topic as far as citations, the process of which they're handled. The thing that's most disturbing, that regardless of who gets one, and this is for everybody as a resident, is that you don't care about finding out both sides of the story. Nobody cares. This board has shown, you guys have shown, you don't care to ask both sides. It's the shoot first and maybe ask later if you feel like it kind of approach. And as a resident, that's just disturbing. Absolutely disturbing that anybody issuing any kind of citation to anyone for anything wouldn't be interested in hearing both sides of the story before issuing a citation. And as a resident, I'll tell you, that's terrible. That's shameful. That's completely unbelievable in my mind. That's not even due process. So I'm disgusted by the whole thing. You as a board should take this up at absolutely your soonest convenience to talk about how these things and put in policies or guidance that says, oh, we don't just take somebody's opinion. There's lots of grudges in every township out there. So taking the grudge of a particular resident versus some other resident and then saying, oh, okay, we'll do that. We'll just go and do it. Or not finding out what somebody means by something that they say. You're going to be in this boat that you're in right now with challenges over and over and over again as a township. And as a resident, I don't want to see my taxpayers. Guess what? The only person who wins is Chuck sitting over there. Because Chuck gets paid regardless. We win or lose, Chuck gets paid. It's nice to be a lawyer at that point. But it's disgusting to me that you guys don't want to even consider all of the story, the whole picture, both sides, 3 sides, 5 sides, if there's 5 people involved, until you're ready to write a citation. And these policies have to be changed. As a resident, I'm asking you to pick that up as a board, since you wouldn't want to discuss it in the board meeting itself. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, Tim. That's fine.
Greg, you know that we had a discussion the night that I was handed that citation. And I asked you, or I almost demanded to see that video. And you told me, we're getting ready to start the meeting. You can come and see it tomorrow. I didn't make it there that Wednesday, but I talked to you Wednesday night, and you told me, no, you really can't see it. And I asked why. You never gave me an answer. Never gave me an answer. And if you remember, I came to your house, and we had an hour and 20-minute long discussion. And some of the things that you admitted to, you're not following through on. So what you're telling me is, I don't really care about you. And Jennifer, you say that you could have just come in and asked to see the video. I was issued that citation on the 20th. It happened on the 6th. Okay? I talked to him, yes, you could come and see it, then all of a sudden, no, you can't. I'm assuming that it was him, but whatever. On the 29th, I filed that FOIA request. That was well within the 30 days of the 6th of May 6th. And the video was gone. I wanted to see what you all saw. I know what happened. There's two people that know what happened. And I can tell you, I'm not lying. So your thing of, especially her over here, your favorite people, I'm one of your favorite people. You people don't even know me. I've been in this township for 35 years. You didn't know me. And the things that you have gone out and said to people that you don't know I know, it's pretty shameful. You too, same thing. Greg, same thing. I had 5 of you show up to that hearing. 2 guys over here probably came because they wanted to see the truth. They wanted to find out, because I don't think there's a whole lot of trust going on. I missed you 2 over there. It is what it is. It was pretty important for the 3 of you to show up. And I get silence. Greg, you might really want to think about what you're doing.
Anybody else? Yeah, Kevin.
Kevin Ross, Heartland Road. Good evening. I just want to make a couple quick points. First, I do want to say that I do sympathize, and I believe the discussion around Mr. Swartz probably could have been tabled rather than forced into a vote tonight. Chris, I think by pushing it forward prematurely, you did him a disservice, not only to Mr. Swartz, but to your ability to gather more input, especially from the professionals like the fire chiefs. Taking Herm's advice and involving those with firsthand knowledge could have given everyone, I think, a clearer understanding and maybe even brought the board to a better consensus. Do I feel that the fire policy should be reviewed? Yeah, I do. But Chris, you got to stop with the grandstanding, man. Your little antics, coming around the table here. That said, I don't think proposing to raise everyone's taxes again is not really what residents want. Dean, you talk up here like you're very unprepared. I'm pleading with you to get your packet early and read through it throughout the week and ask and stop asking the simple questions by, learn about the subject, be a subject matter expert. Please, you're on this board. It's very, just get it early. Second, regarding the potential removal of designated truck routes, let's be clear, trucks can deliver anywhere. That's not what these truck routes are about. Let's establish that for everybody in the room here. The purpose of a truck route is to give heavy haulers a path
that's built to handle the weight and volume. If we eliminate those truck routes, we risk three things. Number one, the truckers will choose their own routes, damaging local roads that aren't built for that kind of load. Again, this is not delivery, so don't confuse it. Number two, that leads to more frequent and expensive road repairs, which likely means, again, higher taxes. Down the road, we may find ourselves in number three, down the road, we might find ourselves again in another legal mess, facing another consent judgment. And guess what happens? More cost to the township. Please listen to Chuck here. Let's be thoughtful and deliberate in these decisions, not reactive. Thank you.
Tell him to stay away from me. Tell him, that should not, you need to do something. Do something about it.
Can I just say something?
Unreal.
Hey, we still have public comment going on here.
Steve Bissell, Indian View Trail. I'd like to just make a formal complaint that members of the Planning Commission that are here complaining about Chris grandstanding or anyone grandstanding on the board, that member of the Planning Commission is one of the biggest causes and reasons for grandstanding that I read over and over and over, and he just proved it again tonight in this meeting. So I'm just going to make that comment that if he thinks Chris is grandstanding, he just did the same thing, only 10 times worse.
Okay. Thanks, Steve. Anybody else?
I do.
Are we done?
Make a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Yes, he did, right?
So moved.
Motion to adjourn.
I want him cited.
Meeting adjourned.
I want him cited, Greg.
We witnessed this, Greg. This is unacceptable behavior. It's exactly what you're accusing other people
How do
of
I
doing.
file and to get a citation started right now? I want to know how the residents do it, and I want to know how to do it right. How do I do a citation? How do I get a citation? Where's the sheriff? You're not gonna help me?
I'll get the sheriff.
Yeah, you're not gonna help me. You don't know how to do a citation. Is that it, Greg? You have no answer? Yeah, because you are in my face too. You need to be cited.
I'm a witness, and as a trustee, as a witness,
I'm asking you for help right now, as a supervisor. You're not gonna help me? You're not gonna help me. You're not gonna help me.
That shook me to watch that happen.
That, you need to help me right now, Greg.
Look at him back there laughing.
You need to help me right now. Help me right now. Help me right now.
Hey, Herb, can you walk Greg to his office? Get Greg away from it and walk him to his office, please.
Get the deputy involved.
I just said, yeah, that's right, or something. And I said it in the microphone after her phone. Because she kept me like, chat GPT. And I just said, yeah, that's right.